What would you do if a strange foreign magician showed up in your city, casually predicted your friend's death, and claimed to have personally met Pontius Pilate and Immanuel Kant? If you're in Moscow, apparently, you'd lose your mind and your head. Let me tell you a story. A wild one. So, two literary men, Berlioz and Bezdomny, are having a very intellectual afternoon chat at Patriarch's Ponds in Moscow. Their topic? The existence of God, or rather, the non-existence of God. They're confident, smug, atheism-level expert mode.
Somebody gonna get hurt real bad.
Enter the great magician, also known as Woland, also known as, wait for it, the devil. Yes, Satan drops by. Now, Woland isn't just eavesdropping, he's correcting. And when he hears their confident God is dead routine, he does something deeply unsettling. He offers proof they're wrong. Philosophical proof, Descartes style, and a little storytelling magic too. Woland tells them about Pontius Pilate and Yeshua Ha-Notsri, also known as Jesus. He claims he was there, as in on the scene, watching Pilate interrogate Christ. Naturally, Berlioz and Bezdomny are like, excuse me? That's impossible. To which Woland basically shrugs and says, also met Kant, nice guy. They're losing it. To demonstrate his power and perhaps his sense of theater, Woland prophesies Berlioz's death. He even tells him the cause, something so absurdly intricate it sounds like nonsense, until it happens. Just like that, Berlioz is dead, head clean off. Bezdomny loses it completely, starts chasing Woland and his two sidekicks, Azazello and Behemoth, the walking, cigar-smoking cat, through the streets of Moscow. He ends up in an asylum. That's how Bulgakov opens this novel, with a bang and a severed head.
Am I too late?
But that's just chapter 1. Woland and his infernal crew, Azazello, Behemoth, Koroviev, Abadana, and Hela, don't stop there. They basically hijack Moscow. Through illusions, black magic, and, well, a good bit of mischief, they expose the greed, vanity, and shallow materialism of the Muscovites.
Your thoughts?
Take Nikanor Ivanovich Bosoy, chairman of the housing committee. He tries to make a quick buck off Woland by renting him an apartment under the table. Boom. He's reported for having foreign currency and ends up in an institution. Stepan Likhodeyev, another opportunist, mysteriously wakes up in Yalta, over 800 miles away, with no clue how he got there. And let's not forget the variety theater performance. It was, well, a masterclass in psychological manipulation. Women bless their hearts, rip off their own clothes for what they think are new, elegant outfits, only to find that they disappear as soon as they leave. People scramble for money, which, as it turns out, is nothing more than worthless product labels. And then there's this one man, in an unfortunate moment of epistemic arrogance, who literally gets his head yanked off, only to have it casually reattached. It's total madness. As you might have guessed, Woland's not just here to play. He's here to test the limits of rational thought and expose just how fragile it really is. But amid the madness is a love story. The Master, an unnamed author, has written a novel about Pontius Pilate and Yeshua. But, oh, Moscow's literary elite tear him to shreds.
Like a fart in the wind.
Their rejection drives him to a breakdown and into a psychiatric hospital. Enter Margarita, the Master's lover. A married woman, yes, but deeply, madly in love with him.
You never met a monster you couldn't love.
Her devotion leads her to strike a deal with Woland's crew. She even becomes a witch and hosts Satan's grand ball. But this is where Bulgakov flips the script. The devil, the literal embodiment of evil, turns out to be the one who offers them peace.
He has read the Master's writings, said Matthew the Levite, and asks you, take the Master with you and reward him by granting him peace. Would that be hard for you to do, spirit of evil? Nothing is hard for me to do, replied Woland, as you well know. He paused for a while and then added, why don't you take him yourself to the light?
That's the moment. When you realize this isn't just a book about madness and satire, it's about redemption, about love, about the strange paradoxical dance between good and evil. So, the book we're talking about? It's none other than The Master and Margarita by Mikhail Bulgakov. It was published posthumously in 1967, decades after Bulgakov started writing it in secret, during Stalin's reign, no less. Can you believe it? After censors had shut down his career, this masterpiece finally saw the light of day. Let me tell you, this novel is fantastic, both literally and figuratively. It's this wild mix of satire, theology, politics, romance, and just pure chaos. The story jumps through timelines, crashes reality and fantasy together, and doesn't give a hoot about linear structure. It's a whirlwind, really.
That's the good stuff.
Time, you ask? Well, it doesn't exist here. 2,000 years mean absolutely nothing. Pilate and Jesus are walking right alongside 1930s writers and bureaucrats. And Moscow and Jerusalem, they just fold into each other like it's the most natural thing in the world. One of the key ideas here is that if you believe in the devil, you must believe in God. Woland argues, it is impossible for a thing to exist without its dipole. You can't have light without dark or good without evil. It's that yin-yang balance that gives the novel its philosophical backbone. And then there's the social commentary. Bulgakov targets the Soviet obsession with atheism as a mark of intellectual superiority. He mocks the absurd bureaucracy, the scarcity economy, and the paranoia of the times, all through the chaos unleashed by the devil's arrival. Mikhail Bulgakov was a doctor, playwright, and novelist living in Stalinist Russia. He wrote this novel in secret, revising it for 12 years. It was never published in his lifetime. He burned an early draft, but thankfully he rewrote it. He died in 1940. It took until 1967 for the world to read this book, and thank God we did. The Master and Margarita is not an easy read. The Russian names alone will have you flipping pages back and forth just to keep track. But it is one of the most audacious, imaginative, and philosophically rich novels ever written. You'll laugh, you'll feel disoriented, you'll question your assumptions, and you'll never look at a talking cat the same way again. If you've read it, let me know what you think. If you haven't, buckle up. This has been GM Bookshop, and you've just entered Woland's world. See you next time. Hey, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're interested in diving deeper into this book, I've left some links down in the description. You can use it to grab yourself a copy and keep the adventure going. And if you're in the mood for more great reads, don't go just yet. Click on one of the videos popping up right now that I think you'll love. And don't forget to give this review a like, leave a comment, or even subscribe if you'd like to see more. Every bit of support helps us grow this little community of book lovers. See you in the next one.